Wait, what happens when one soap's next few weeks somehow manage to combine a secret corporate payoff, a disappearing ankle monitor, a mysterious woman with a hidden past, a mother helping her daughter re-enter the world after psychiatric treatment, and Victor Newman preparing what looks like a deeply personal form of payback? Because that is exactly the kind of collision course The Young and the Restless appears to be setting up, and the story becomes even stranger the closer you look. On the surface, these spoilers promise a debut, a return, and a revenge plot. But underneath that, there's something much more interesting happening. This is a story about control, exposure, recovery, loyalty, and the people who believe they can quietly rewrite the rules without consequences. And if the reports hold, nobody in Genoa City is walking away untouched. You're watching Soap Pulse. I'm Anderson, and if you love smart soap deep dives like this one, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because this next stretch of Young and the Restless may not just move storylines forward, it may completely change who holds power when the dust settles. What makes these next few weeks so fascinating is that the biggest developments are not all loud at first. Some of them are quiet, some of them are emotional, some of them are hidden behind decisions that look practical until you realize they could blow up entire relationships. According to the latest spoiler reports, the next 3-week stretch revolves around 3 major currents. Sally Spectra facing backlash over a move that could destroy what little trust still exists between rival camps. Victor Newman discovering that Matt Clark may have slipped his leash and deciding exactly what kind of response that deserves. And the debut of Kirkland, a brand new character whose arrival appears designed to raise one immediate question in the minds of longtime viewers. Why now, and why in Nick Newman's orbit? Add to that Mariah Copeland's release from a psychiatric facility and Nikki Newman's long-awaited healing, and suddenly this isn't just a run of episodes, it's a pressure chamber. Let's start with Sally, because in many ways she is standing in the center of the kind of soap problem that always looks simple to the outside world and never is. Spoilers indicate that Sally Spectra is headed for backlash after giving Newman Media back to Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson. And right there, even before anyone starts yelling, you can already see the emotional trap closing around her. Sally isn't just dealing with a business transfer, she's dealing with optics, motive, trust, and timing. In Genoa City, those things can be more explosive than any signed contract. Billy Abbott, we're told, is going to hear it from Victoria Newman over Sally's decision, and that makes perfect sense because from Billy's point of view, this isn't just disappointing, it's destabilizing. Billy is a man whose confidence and judgment often swing with his emotional state, and when someone close to him appears to make a move behind his back or against his interests, he doesn't simply absorb that information. He reacts, he probes, he pushes, he turns the whole thing into a test of loyalty. That is where this gets dangerous for Sally. According to the spoilers, Adam secretly paid her for the company. Now pause there, because that detail changes everything. If Sally merely made a strategic business decision, Billy could resent it, argue with it, and maybe even eventually rationalize it. But if money exchanged hands in secret, now the storyline enters a much darker emotional zone. Not darker in a criminal sense, and it's important to be careful about that, but darker in the sense of perception. Secrets involving money almost always look worse than they may actually be. Even if Sally had reasons she believed were justified, even if she thought she was containing chaos instead of creating it, the fact that Adam secretly paid her creates a narrative that Billy is almost guaranteed to interpret as betrayal. And once Billy thinks betrayal is in the room, he tends to stop listening for nuance. This is where the soap becomes psychologically interesting. Sally reportedly wrestles with whether to tell Billy the truth. That dilemma is not just a plot point, it's the entire engine of suspense. Because what is she really deciding? Is she deciding whether to be honest with Billy, or is she deciding whether Billy can be trusted with information that could trigger another round of reckless fallout? Those are not the same question. And that distinction matters because the spoilers describe Billy as a wild card, which suggests Sally's silence may not simply be self-protective, it may be tactical. If she knows Billy could blab and ruin everything, then the script seems to be inviting viewers to sit with a very uncomfortable possibility. Sometimes withholding the truth in Genoa City is framed not as deception, but as damage control. And if that is the emotional logic Sally adopts, then the confrontation we're told is coming between Billy and Adam becomes even more loaded. Billy will reportedly interrogate Adam, which sounds exactly like the kind of scene Young and the Restless knows how to weaponize. Not just two men arguing, but two men fighting over narrative dominance. Adam, who often operates with cold strategic precision, and Billy, who often responds with wounded intensity, make for a volatile combination because each believes he sees through the other. Billy will want answers, but more than that, he'll want confirmation that his instincts were right. Adam, meanwhile, may not feel any obligation to give Billy a clean version of the truth, especially if secrecy still serves him. So the real question is not whether tensions will rise. Of course they will. The real question is whether Billy's interrogation uncovers facts or whether it simply detonates whatever fragile balance Sally was trying to maintain. And let's be honest, that is where the audience's curiosity lives, not just in who said what, but in why Sally felt trapped enough to keep something this explosive to herself. Viewers who have watched these characters for years know that Sally is often forced into rooms where every option carries damage. If she tells Billy, she risks immediate chaos. If she stays quiet, she risks something even harder to repair later, the collapse of trust once the secret inevitably surfaces. That is classic soap architecture. No safe exits, only different kinds of consequences. And from a storytelling perspective, it also mirrors a larger theme running through these spoilers. People trying to control outcomes by controlling information, only to discover that hidden facts have a way of finding daylight at the worst possible moment. Now shift to Matt Clark, because if Sally's story is about secret transactions and emotional calculus, Matt's story appears to be about escape, redemption, and the possibility that Victor Newman's patience has limits even when he pretends otherwise. The spoilers say Matt finally scores freedom from his ankle monitor thanks to Phyllis Summers. That alone sounds like a major release point in the narrative. An ankle monitor is not just a plot device, it is symbolic. It means restriction, surveillance, conditional trust. So when Matt gets free of it, the obvious question becomes, is this genuine progress or the start of a larger mistake? We're told Phyllis and Matt will agree to see where their romance takes them, and that immediately adds emotional stakes, because whenever a soap pairs hope with instability, you know turbulence is coming. Phyllis is not a character who drifts into uncomplicated romance. She brings history, suspicion, fire, and often an instinct to believe she can manage risk better than everyone else around her. That's part of what makes her compelling. If she helped Matt reach this point, then in her mind she may believe she sees something redeemable in him, something worth investing in despite the danger signs. But spoiler language matters. Matt will reportedly feel the need to clear the air with Sienna Bacall about their disastrous marriage. The very phrasing suggests unfinished emotional business, and unfinished emotional business in Soapland is rarely a side note. It is usually the pressure point that bursts later. So while Phyllis and Matt may talk about seeing where romance goes, the story seems to be telling viewers not to settle in too comfortably. There is history trailing behind him, and history in this genre doesn't stay behind for long. Then comes the piece that changes Matt's entire trajectory. During the following week, Victor is expected to realize that Matt has given his ankle monitor the slip and is opting out of their redemption agreement. If that spoiler plays as it sounds, this is the moment the story flips from unstable rehabilitation to direct threat. And once Victor Newman believes someone has taken advantage of his terms, mocked his authority, or treated his mercy as weakness, the atmosphere changes instantly. The title phrase, Victor's Payback, is not subtle. It suggests not simple disappointment, but retaliation. Still, responsible storytelling requires caution here. The spoilers do not outline exactly what Victor will do. They do, however, strongly imply that Matt is about to become Victor's target. That matters because with Victor, retaliation is often not impulsive rage. It's engineered response. It's chess, not shouting. It's often more dangerous because it is calculated. This is one of those moments where longtime viewers start reading the emotional subtext. Victor does not merely punish behavior, he often punishes defiance. If Matt truly steps outside the redemption deal Victor was willing to honor, then from Victor's point of view, this may not just be about broken terms. It may be about insult. And insult for Victor is personal. The reason that matters so much in a storyline like this is because it raises several layered questions at once. Was Matt genuinely trying to flee something bigger than Victor? Did he panic? Did he feel trapped? Or did he consciously decide that any arrangement tied to Victor Newman would always come with strings too dangerous to accept? Depending on how the show plays it, fans could interpret Matt either as a man sabotaging his own second chance or as someone realizing too late that a redemption agreement under Victor's control is never entirely free. And that is where Phyllis becomes crucial again, because if Victor goes after Matt, then Phyllis is no longer just a romantic counterpart. She becomes collateral, witness, possible defender, maybe even future accuser, depending on how events unfold. Soap viewers understand this rhythm. A character like Phyllis does not simply watch a man she invested in get pulled into Victor's orbit without reacting. Whether she tries to protect Matt, confront Victor, blame herself, or turn against Matt for making her look foolish, every option carries dramatic fuel. The storyline is not really asking, will Victor be angry? That answer feels obvious. It is asking something more interesting. Once Victor decides Matt is no longer under protection but under suspicion, who gets pulled into the blast radius? Then there's the Abbott side of the board, where another quietly intriguing mystery appears to be building around the missing Dr. Lawrence Markham. Spoilers suggest Diane Jenkins Abbott and the rest of the Abbott clan may figure out where the rented summer home is, which could expose Dr. Markham's hideout. That wording is fascinating because it signals secrecy, but not yet clarity. Why a rented summer home? Why the need for concealment? Why is this discovery framed like the jig may soon be up? Without overclaiming, because the specific circumstances are not fully laid out in the provided information, what we can say is that the show seems to be planting a suspense thread around absence, location, and eventual exposure. That kind of plot often works best when viewers sense that people are searching not only for a person, but for the truth about why that person needed to disappear in the first place. Diane's involvement matters too. She is a character whose presence tends to sharpen suspicion in any room she enters because her history has taught everyone around her, and viewers at home, to look twice at motives. So if Diane and the Abbott family are tracking down the summer home, the emotional texture of those scenes could become just as important as the reveal itself. Is this a family trying to solve a crisis? Is this a battle over information? Is someone already 2 steps ahead? And perhaps most importantly, if Dr. Markham has a hideout, who else knows about it? In soaps, the location is never just a location, it is a container for secrets. At the same time, other relationship dynamics are shifting in ways that may look softer on paper, but still carry major implications. Kane Ashby and Lily Winters may hit the sheets after he invites her over, but spoilers also say they will eventually discuss work and play boundaries. That phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Because in a genre built on longing and relapse, the moment characters start talking boundaries after crossing them is usually the moment the audience realizes those boundaries are unlikely to hold. Kane and Lily are not just exes or potential lovers navigating chemistry. They are 2 people with a complicated emotional infrastructure, and whenever intimacy reopens the door, questions return fast. Are they revisiting something real or just falling into familiar patterns? Can boundaries even survive where deep history still exists? And if work is involved, does desire make professional judgment harder to trust? This might seem secondary next to Victor's revenge or Marie's debut, but it isn't. Soap operas thrive on the way personal vulnerability bleeds into business, family, and power. A reunion, even a temporary one between Kane and Lily, could ripple outward through multiple storylines, especially if one party sees it as comfort and the other sees it as possibility. The audience is trained to notice these mismatches. One person says, "Let's keep this contained," and the entire viewer base hears, "This is about to get messy." That tension between intention and inevitability is part of what gives these spoilers such momentum. Abby Winters making Daniel Romalotti Jr. her confidant adds another subtle thread worth paying attention to. Anytime a character becomes a confidant in Young and the Restless, the role often becomes more significant than it first appears. Being trusted with someone's private fears or observations can place a character near a future twist before anyone realizes it. Abby leaning on Daniel suggests emotional strain, perhaps uncertainty, perhaps an evolving need for perspective outside her immediate circle. And Daniel, as a listener, can become a narrative bridge. Confidants hear the concerns others miss. They notice mood shifts. They gather context. Sometimes they become the first person to understand the shape of a problem before the show is ready to fully reveal it. Then there is Nikki Newman, and this is where the spoiler cycle introduces something almost radical for a soap built on chaos: healing. Nikki's optic nerve continues to improve, and the reports indicate that it won't be long before she starts seeing again. In any other storyline, that would already be major. But because Nikki and Victor are also said to be ready for a clean slate, the recovery becomes more than physical. It becomes symbolic. Sight returning, perspective returning, a marriage getting another chance at stability. That kind of parallel is not accidental. According to the spoilers, Victor and Nikki will begin to truly fix their marriage, and for longtime fans, that may be one of the most emotionally satisfying developments in the entire 3-week window. But even here, the calm may not be uncomplicated. Because if Nikki regains her vision while Victor simultaneously starts focusing on Matt as a revenge target, the question becomes whether those 2 trajectories can coexist. Can Victor really offer Nikki a clean slate while also moving into vengeful mode elsewhere? Supporters of Victor's character often argue that his ruthlessness is part of what makes him dependable when protecting what matters. Critics would say that Victor's instinct to dominate every threat ultimately poisons the peace he claims to want. Both readings have lived inside this character for years, so when spoilers promise both healing at home and retaliation outside it, the audience is left with an irresistible tension. Which side of Victor will define this chapter? And now we arrive at the development that may generate the most instant curiosity simply because it is new: the debut of Marie Kirkland. According to the spoilers, Marie, played by Jade Harlow, will make her first appearance during the August 10th to 14th stretch. She is said to be hopeful about a fresh start, and early signs suggest she may be someone Nick Newman meets in rehab. That one detail alone opens the door to a whole universe of speculation, and again, it must be framed carefully as speculation because the spoilers stop short of confirming a specific romantic storyline, but they absolutely plant the possibility. Could a romantic connection be brewing between Marie and Nick? The reports ask the question because the setup clearly wants viewers to ask it too. What makes Marie such an intriguing arrival is not just that she's new, it's that she's described as carrying a mysterious past she is trying to overcome. In soap terms, that is practically an engraved invitation to suspicion, sympathy, and obsession all at once. A fresh start sounds hopeful. A mysterious past sounds unstable. Put those together, and you get a character audiences will immediately start testing. Is Marie who she says she is? Is she truly trying to rebuild, or is the fresh start language hiding another agenda? Will Nick see vulnerability where others see risk? And perhaps the biggest question of all, why introduce a woman like this in rehab, a setting already tied to fragility, self-examination, and personal reckoning, unless the show intends her arrival to disturb more than one emotional ecosystem? Nick, of course, is the perfect character to place opposite someone like Marie because he often moves through life as both rescuer and fellow struggler. He is not a naive man, but he is a man who can be drawn toward people in pain, particularly if he senses sincerity. That makes him compassionate, but it can also make him vulnerable to emotional entanglements that become more complicated over time. If Marie enters his world while presenting both hope and mystery, then Nick may not simply be meeting a new woman. He may be stepping into a situation where empathy clouds judgment, and the audience knows how these stories work. The first connection is rarely the whole story. The first version of the truth is rarely the final one. At the same time, it would be simplistic to assume Marie must be dangerous just because she's mysterious. Soap audiences have seen too many women introduced with cryptic backstories only for those stories to become portraits of survival rather than manipulation. So the truly compelling question is not whether Marie is good or bad. It's what kind of history she's carrying, what overcoming it actually looks like, and why her arrival is positioned to matter in the same narrative window as Mariah's release and Victor's revenge. That juxtaposition feels intentional. 3 different forms of reentry. One woman entering Genoa City for the first time. One woman returning home after psychiatric treatment. One man allegedly stepping out from under enforced supervision. Fresh starts, second chances, and the possibility that not everyone deserves the same kind of grace. And that brings us to Mariah Copeland, which may be the most emotionally delicate storyline in this entire spoiler package. According to the reports, Mariah's release from her psychiatric facility is on the way, and Sharon Newman will help her with the transition back to life on the outside. Even without a full breakdown of everything Mariah has endured leading up to this, that premise carries weight. Reentry after psychiatric treatment is not a simple back-to-normal arc. If the show handles it carefully, as many fans will hope, this could become one of the richest emotional stories of the next few weeks, not because it promises fireworks, but because it invites something harder and more real: uncertainty. How does a person come home after being in a facility? How do loved ones help without smothering? How does recovery look when the world expects either instant improvement or instant relapse? These are not easy questions, and they are exactly the kind of questions that can give a soap storyline unusual depth when handled with restraint. Sharon's involvement feels especially important because Sharon is not approaching Mariah's transition as an abstract problem. She is stepping into it as someone who loves her, worries for her, and likely understands that support is not the same thing as control. The spoilers say Sharon will do her part to help, and that phrasing suggests something grounded rather than grand, not a miraculous fix, a process. And that may be why Mariah's return could hit viewers so hard. In a spoiler cycle full of schemes and confrontations, Mariah's storyline introduces a quieter form of suspense. Not will someone be exposed, but will someone feel safe? Not who wins, but what does healing actually require? Soap fans who tune in for drama often stay for exactly this kind of emotional truth. Because for every viewer intrigued by Victor's payback or Marie's mystery, there is another viewer who understands that the hardest scenes may be the ones where a character sits in her own house and still feels unsteady. Mariah coping with life outside the facility is not a side note. It may be the emotional conscience of the entire 3-week arc. What makes all of this even more compelling is the way the spoilers seem to layer public-facing conflict and private vulnerability together. Billy and Adam are heading toward open tension, but Sally's real crisis is internal. Victor may be preparing retaliation, but Nikki is regaining sight and asking for renewal. Marie may look like a brand new romantic possibility, but her past reportedly follows her into every scene. Mariah may be coming home, but home itself can feel strange after what she's been through. These are not disconnected plots. They are variations on the same question. Can people really begin again, or do old patterns always return the minute pressure hits? That question becomes even sharper if you look at how each character is trying to manage perception. Sally wants to avoid catastrophic fallout, but secrecy may make her look worse later. Matt may want freedom, but slipping out of Victor's arrangement could transform him from troubled figure to hunted one in the eyes of other characters. Nikki and Victor may want a clean slate, but his actions toward Matt could test whether clean slates are something Victor truly believes in or merely promises selectively. Marie wants a fresh start, but the very description of her character tells viewers not to take appearances at face value. Mariah wants to resume life on the outside, but returning physically does not erase what happened psychologically. And this is why the next 3 weeks feel bigger than a typical spoiler cycle. They are not just moving pieces around, they are interrogating the terms of forgiveness, reinvention, and trust. Who gets believed? Who gets watched? Who gets a second chance? And who gets payback? Once you frame the stories that way, the connective tissue becomes impossible to ignore. Victor is deciding whether Matt has forfeited redemption. Sally is deciding whether Billy can handle the truth. Nick may soon be deciding whether Marie's hope is genuine or dangerous. Sharon will be helping Mariah decide whether the outside world can be navigated again without falling apart. Every major beat is about judgment under uncertainty. It also explains why fan reaction to these spoilers is likely to be so intense. Soap viewers are not passive consumers of plot. They are analysts. They know patterns. They know when a new character is being introduced as a temporary disruption versus a long-term emotional complication. They know when an argument over business is really an argument over loyalty. They know when a revenge setup involving Victor Newman probably means the real damage is not just what he does, but what his decision reveals about him. And they know that whenever Young and the Restless pairs one hopeful development with one ominous one in the same week, it is usually preparing to make the hope more fragile than it first appears. There's also a tonal sophistication in the way these spoilers are arranged. The week of corporate backlash and complicated romance opens the door. The week of Victor's realization and Markham's possible exposure tightens the screws. Then the final week introduces Marie and sends Mariah home, which means the story does not simply escalate in volume, it deepens in emotional complexity. The show appears to be asking viewers to hold two truths at once. Danger is increasing and vulnerability is widening. That combination is exactly what keeps an audience leaning forward. So, what is the biggest revelation hidden inside all this? It may not be Marie's past, though that could become explosive. It may not even be Victor's payback, though that promises major consequences. The biggest revelation may be that The Young and the Restless is building a 3-week stretch around a very specific idea. The most dramatic battles are often not between obvious enemies, but between the version of yourself you want to become and the version of yourself that your history keeps dragging back into the room. Sally wants to be strategic, but she may still get trapped in the appearance of betrayal. Matt may want freedom, but freedom without structure may expose what he really is. Victor may want peace with Nikki, but revenge may prove he still confuses protection with domination. Marie wants a fresh start, but mystery is not easily separated from identity. Mariah wants life on the outside, but healing is not a straight line. And if you ask me, that is why this spoiler cycle feels so unusually rich. It isn't just setting up moments, it's setting up tests. Billy will test Sally. Adam will test Billy. Victor will test Matt. Marie may test Nick. Life outside the facility will test Mariah. And beneath all of it, the audience will be testing the story itself, looking for clues about who is actually changing and who is just finding new language for old behavior. That's the deeper thrill here. The waiting, the interpretation, the sense that every scene may contain a detail that looks small now and decisive later. By the time these 3 weeks reach their endpoint, viewers may not simply be talking about one shocking event. They may be talking about a whole web of emotional consequences that began with secrecy, hope, and the illusion of control. If Sally tells the truth too late, the damage may be worse than the secret. If Victor goes too far with Matt, the moral cost could complicate his fresh start with Nikki. If Marie walks into Nick's life carrying more than he realizes, then fresh start may turn out to be one of the most loaded phrases in the entire storyline. And if Mariah comes home only to discover that recovery outside a facility is more frightening than expected, then the most powerful scenes of this stretch may not involve revenge at all. They may involve the quiet courage of continuing. That is the genius of a soap when it's working at a high level. It convinces you that you're tuning in for the twist, and then it hooks you with the human cost of everything surrounding that twist. Yes, fans want to know who Marie really is. Yes, they want to see whether Billy explodes, whether Adam smirks, whether Victor strikes back, whether Matt regrets pushing his luck. But they also want to know whether healing survives pressure, whether trust survives concealment, whether people who say they want a second chance are actually prepared for what second chances demand. So, as these episodes unfold, keep your eye not only on the headline events, but on the emotional fingerprints they leave behind. Watch Sally's hesitation, watch Billy's sense of humiliation, watch Adam's calculation, watch Phyllis decide whether Matt is a cause, a mistake, or both. Watch Victor closely, because with him, the most dangerous move is often the one he makes after he appears calm. Watch Nikki, because her return to sight may sharpen what she sees in her husband. Watch Nick around Marie, because attraction and empathy can blur into risk before either person names it. And watch Mariah, because sometimes the bravest story in a week full of threats is the story of someone simply trying to come home and stay whole. In the end, these next 3 weeks of The Young and the Restless seem poised to ask a brutally simple question in a dozen different ways. When the door opens to a new beginning, who actually walks through it, and who brings the past in with them? That is the question hanging over Sally's secret, over Matt's escape, over Victor's looming payback, over Marie's first appearance, and over Mariah's homecoming. Nobody saw this combination coming quite like this. A mysterious debut, a fragile return, a revenge target, a marriage trying to mend, a secret payment, a missing doctor, a family searching for answers. And underneath all of it, that growing feeling that what looks like a transition period may really be the start of something far more disruptive. Because in Genoa City, fresh starts are never just fresh starts. They are invitations to test what people have learned, what they've hidden, and what they're willing to risk when the truth gets too close. And if these spoilers are any indication, the next chapter won't just reveal what happens. It will reveal who these people really are when second chances stop feeling safe.